2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. Hey, math is so easy to me. It's so easy. Count it up like.
Hey everybody, today we are focusing on solving algebraic equations just like we did yesterday. However, all of our equations today are going to feature subtraction instead of addition. So let's get started with our first example. Our instructions are the same as they were yesterday. Solve each equation. And specifically, solving for this equation is going to mean determining what is the value of y. Okay, what value of y allows this equation to be true? We'll follow the same 3 steps that we did yesterday. First, let's determine our variable that we want to isolate. In this case, it's y, so I'll circle it. Step 2, use the inverse operation to isolate the variable. Today, we are dealing with subtraction. The opposite of addition is subtraction. And remember, I put a little reminder here. Addition and subtraction are inverse or opposite operations. Multiplication and division are inverse or opposite operations. All right, so instead of subtracting 21, we'll do the inverse. We'll add 21, okay? Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. Remember, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I also have to do to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to add 21 to 18. Okay, so what we have here basically is 21 minus 21. We have a positive 21 minus another 21. So what that would amount to is 0. 21 minus 21 equals 0. Another way that we could think about this is negative 21 plus positive 21. Well, that would also amount to 0. So what I'm left with on this left side is y. On the right side, I need to add 18 plus 21, and 18 plus 21 equals 39. Now, I think that this is the correct answer. However, we don't know for sure until we've done step 3, which is to check our answer. Instead of writing y, I'll write the value that we just solved for, which is 39. And if we did this correctly, 39 minus 21 should equal 18. And in fact, it does. So we know that our answer is correct. All right, our next example involves a decimal. V minus 6 and 9/10 equals 11 and 4/10. Now, dealing with a decimal can make things seem a little bit more complicated, but again, it is nothing we can't handle. So to start, we'll determine the variable we want to isolate. In this case, our variable is v. And remember, a variable can be any letter. Oftentimes we use x and y in algebra, but v can absolutely be a variable. Next, we're going to use the inverse operation to isolate our variable. Here, I'm subtracting 6 and 9/10. So if I am to do the inverse operation, I will add 6 and 9/10. And whatever I do to the left side, I also have to do to the right side, okay? All right, now, here's where things get a little bit tricky. This is just like our last problem. We have 6 and 9/10 minus 6 and 9/10. That will amount to 0. We can also think of it as negative 6 and 9/10 plus positive 6 and 9/10. That would also amount to 0. Regardless of how we think about it, we are just left with v on the left side. 11 and 4/10 plus 6 and 9/10 equals 18 and 3/10. So we think we found our final answer. However, we don't know for sure until we've checked it, which is step 3. So instead of writing v, I'll write 18 and 3/10. I'll subtract 6 and 9/10. And if we've done this correctly, we will be left with 11 and 4/10. 18 and 3/10 minus 6 and 9/10 does in fact equal 11 and 4/10. So we know that yes, we are correct in saying that v equals 18 and 3/10. Okay, our final example is our trickiest one, and that's because it involves a fraction. However, even though we have fractions, we still will follow these same 3 steps. And last week we reviewed fractions, so we're experts on it anyways. All right, step 1 tells us to determine the variable we want to isolate. In this case, the variable is m. Step 2 asks us to use the inverse operation to isolate our variable. So instead of subtracting 1/8, I'm going to do the inverse, which is add 1/8. Okay? Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. Okay? Now 1/8 minus minus 1 over 8 would equal 0. So I can cross them out, and I'm left with m on the left side. However, the right side is going to take some work, and it's going to require us to apply the rules of adding fractions that we practiced last week. So I have 3 over 4 plus 1 over 8, okay? And we know that in order to solve this problem, we have to find the LCM of our denominators. Now, the LCM of 4 and 8 is 8. So I'm going to use this to make my denominators common. In this case, we need both of our denominators to be 8, and then we can solve this problem. So for this number, 1 over 8, my denominator already is 8, so that makes my life easy. However, 3 over 4, my denominator is not 8, so I'm going to use multiplication. And if I take 3 over 4 and multiply my denominator by 2, it would give me a denominator of 8, which is what I want. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So now I have 6 over 8, okay? So now we can plug this in. We have m equals 6 over 8 plus 1 over 8. 6 over 8 plus 1 over 8 would equal 7 over 8, okay, because our denominator stays the same and we add our numerators. Okay, so I think my final answer is m equals 7 over 8, okay? That's what I think. However, we don't know for sure until we've done step 3, which is to check our answer. So I'm going to erase this so that we have plenty of space to check our answer, okay? And if we've done this correctly, our original equation was m minus 1 over 8 equals 3 over 4. If we've done this correctly, 7 over 8 minus 1 over 8 should equal 3 over 4. Well, with 7 over 8 and 1 over 8, it's really convenient because our denominators are the same. Okay, so we don't have to find the LCM, and we don't have to use multiplication. So we're going to do 7 minus 1, okay, that's 6. And then my denominator stays as 8. So I have 6 over 8 equals 3 over 4. Well, obviously, 6 over 8 is not the same thing as 3 over 4. However, 6 over 8 can be simplified. And if I were to take 6 and divide it by 2, and take 8 and divide it by 2, 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So it's true, 7 over 8 minus 1 over 8 equals 3 over 4. So our answer is in fact correct. M does equal 7 over 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math.